My fellow Guardians, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Slime Nation Shadowkeep guide. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this week's master tiered nightmare hunts. Last week we had Zydron, Taniks, and Gaul. This week we're faced with Omnigul, Skolas, and the Fanatic. Each fight has their highlights and low points. Each also has kind of an area or spot where things can get a little tough, but with the right teamwork, each of these are easy enough to get through. So without further delay, guys, let's jump into the Omnigul encounter and how you can not only beat this, but earn the time trial triumph for which Omnigul has to be completed within 10 minutes. Now, if you've watched my past videos, you might remember that these start dropping mods known as Supreme mods, which are a tier higher than Enhanced. These mods can only be used within nightmare hunts, but they make things pretty easy once you get them. You have Supreme Breaker, which does increased damage to shields created by nightmare bosses, which are those solar shields that kind of come out all at once. Then you have Supreme Banisher, which gives you increased super damage towards nightmare bosses, and then finally Supreme Crusher, which does increased damage to your melee and grenade abilities on nightmare bosses only. Then of course there's also the Dreambane mod, which is just basically nightmare boss resistance. If you've been doing these master tiered nightmare hunts for the past few weeks and have acquired a few of them, it is time to start using them. There's two ways you can go about beating these master tiered nightmare hunts for this week. If you're just starting out and you don't have any of the mods yet and it's your first go around, you're going to want to use Divinity, and then the other two Izanagi's with the Catalyst completed. There is also an abundance of Arc and Solar Shields. Match Game is also a modifier present throughout all the hunts this week, so be sure to coordinate and pop shields when you can. The loadouts we ran were a hand cannon with unstoppable rounds, which by the way is a must, then Divinity with Wendigo, followed by the other two Guardians having Izanagi's with a solar auto rifle or even an SMG with anti-barrier rounds equipped for shields, and barrier champions, and then along with that we had Wendigo, Outrageous Fortune, or 21% Delirium, depending on the encounter. Now as far as characters go, it's up to you, but having at least one Warlock with one Hunter, or preferably two Hunters, will go a very long way. If you have Supreme Banisher mods, you can just about instant kill every boss with two Hunters and a Warlock. Once again, I'll explain during the damage section of this guide. But if you don't have two Hunters, then just do the usual whatever you guys can muster up. For mods and armor, it's best to have a separate set of armor for nightmare hunts, as it's just easier to slap on 4 pieces of armor rather than keep moving over 12 or more mods and pay the glimmer every time. Now, like I said before, you're going to want to run mostly Dreambane mods along with whatever build you'd like to run. Oppressive Grenades with Disruption works very well in the boss, and Nightmares and Champions. So stack Dreambane mods, and if you have it, a Supreme Breaker, as it helps with the buff Solar Shields. Also, if you can, be sure to use a special finisher because you're going to need it for Izanagi's and Divinity. Just be mindful when it's time for boss DPS, you don't want to have a super, and then right as you're about to go into the boss phase, use the finisher, forgetting it takes away some of your super, and then you don't have it. Now, if you've completed the master level hunts from last week or the weeks before, and you have Supreme Banisher, trade out one Dreambane mod for a Supreme Banisher mod along with your Breaker. Now, these do not stack, so equip Banisher and Breaker on your Hunter, while the rest being just simple Dreambane mods. Be sure to have Golden Gun Bottom Tree with Nighthawk Exotic Helmet. We'll pick back up on what to do with it during the boss fight. Once again, y'all, the key here is to be quick, but stay safe. Try to leave as many of the champions alone as possible, and only focus on nightmares. However, unlike last week, a lot of the champions are in the way this time, so a few of them, you're going to have no choice but to deal with them. Also, do not forget about your unstable essence orbs. These are extremely powerful and help out tremendously. So at the start of the encounter, the person using Divinity is going to kind of be like a team lead, calling out which nightmare to shoot at. So use Divinity, once it's procced, have a loaded Izanagi's ready to take it out. Figure out where the next nightmare is, grab the essence orb, rotate around as a team, taking them all out as quickly as possible. At the beginning, you want to use the right hand side of this map, kind of like where the balcony is. Get on top of there for cover. If you have an unstoppable ogre, be sure to stun it first, then Divinity, then Izanagi's. Once all the nightmares are down, you want to skip by everything else here and then head inside until you make it to the Hive Cedar. Now, just like the Taniks fight, you want to use the left-hand side of the Cedar, jump into the pile of rocks. Use Warlock Wells here as much as possible. If you have Perpetuation, Paragon mods, or other ability cooldown mods, you should get it back pretty quickly. So take out the first nightmare from the left and then go ahead and jump on down. Now unfortunately, the Thrall here aren't as nice as the nightmares from the Taniks fight. They run all over the damn place and it's never in the area you need. So you're probably going to have to jump back up onto the Cedar and head over to the right side so you can kind of flank from behind them. If you can avoid it, leave the barrier knight alone, but for this area, you might not have a choice if the thrall are not cooperating. Once again, team shooting here is everything, guys. Kind of called out with Divinity. Once you see it procced, Izanagi the Nightmare, grab the orb, repeat. Once you've taken them all down, the barrier behind you will open up and go ahead and head on through like you normally would. Once you get into this next area, you want to just simply book it to the right and do not stop running. This entire area is nothing but a time sink, so have a Warlock throw down a Divine Blessing, as it'll help out a little bit if enemies are rushing towards you. Also, do not try and jump your way through this. Aerial damage is increased by one of the modifiers, so it's basically like a special version of grounded. You take way more damage while you're up in the air, so keep your feet on the ground and just run. Like I said, if you can, have the Warlock charge up a grenade and throw it down in front of you, so that way you'll have something to kind of heal you and give you an overshield when you're running through the map. Once you make it to the World's Grave area, there's a couple different versions you can get here. You can get unlucky and have multiple unstoppable ogres if you're going for time trial and not points. But then there's also the version with a lot of barrier champions, or you can get lucky and only have one champion with just a ton of nightmares, so be ready for anything here. This area is just like any other for time trials, guys. Focus on the nightmares and then try to move along as fast as possible. Now you're probably going to have to take out the arc shielded boomers, as arc damage is buffed during the Omnigul nightmare hunt, and they can wreck your day, so just be aware of that. As always, take out your first nightmare as a team, spray with Divinity, finish with Izanagi's, grab the unstable essence, and simply repeat. Now the boss encounter is going to be right after this room, so what you want to do here is once you have your unstable essence, try to save your Izanagi shot for the rest of them, and simply use your other weapons like Wendigo or Solar Auto Rifle. With Divinity on and the unstable essence buff, you can take them out pretty quickly. Once again, when all the nightmares are done, don't worry about the rest of the enemies, just run past them, head on into the Omnigul boss fight. Like I mentioned, guys, you have 10 minutes, and once you get to the boss encounter, you really want your first damage phase to be as flawless as possible. That's kind of the key to getting through this quickly. Getting your unstable essence orb is an absolute must from here on out, and for just about every boss fight, really. Hunters, you want to use bottom tree golden gun and have your Nighthawk equipped, and warlocks have Well of Radiance. Start the fight, kill the very first nightmare, and then get the second one down to where it's finishable with like a sliver of health. Don't worry about the boss right now, she'll remain unshielded, at least until you start damaging her. So don't worry about the boss, don't damage her, just focus on the first two nightmares. Now, once you have the second nightmare ready to finish, get into a good location, which for us was either at the top of the stairs or down at the bottom to the right of where you enter. It really depends on where your last nightmare is. Now, you have to be quick here, so finish the last nightmare. While that's happening, a Warlock will pop down a Well of Radiance while the Hunters go and grab the unstable Essence Orb. Have the Warlock start using Divinity, and then both Hunters use their Nighthawk Goldie shots at the same time. If you shoot her with the Banisher mod, and while you have an unstable Essence Orb along with everything else, you can and will instantly kill her, allowing you to save a ton of time. As you can see here in this clip, we only had one Hunter with Nighthawk Golden Gun, and you can see how much health it took away. So if you have two, it is an instant kill. This will pretty much be the way to go for just about every time trial from here on out. Now, I haven't tested Hammers or Nova Bomb yet, but I'm assuming with Golden Gun backing up most of the damage, I bet Nova Bomb would work fairly well also. In any case, once you get her down, it's all about getting the nightmares down as quick as possible as a team while staying safe. Witches are brutal on master tier activities, regardless of who they are. Now make it a boss with Arc Burn, and she's insane. As you can see here, she can pretty much instantly kill you while respawning. Also remind yourself not to jump to safety, as this will get you killed. Now, if you only have one Hunter, more than likely you're going to have to do multiple rounds. So while in hiding, pop the Solar Shields with the Solar Auto Rifle or Outrageous Fortune, Warlock Grenades, etc. Throw down healing rifts when needed, and then focus on nightmares. Just like last time, leave your last nightmare at a sliver of health, and then as a team, move into a good location, take it out. Grab the Essence Orb, and since you won't have supers this time, try to put down a healing rift for damage. Spray Divinity, throw an Oppressive Grenade using Izanagi's, and with the unstable buff, the second damage phase should finish her off if you didn't melt her with Hunters right off the bat. And yeah, that's about it, Guardians. The key to this fight, and just about every Nightmare Hunt on Master difficulty, is simple team coordination. One player taking out champions or nightmares eats up just too much time, but if you coordinate as a team and team shoot, you can pretty much steamroll through just about every area, especially if you grab those Essence Orbs. Now, Divinity was patched on Thursday as it was stacking with other various damage buffs. Now apparently, Divinity's Judgment perk is bugged to where it can be used with other weakening effects during boss damage. I heard it was fixed by way of Thursday's update, but I'm not entirely certain about that because I didn't see it within the patch notes. Now I haven't read an article or researched it myself as to what it does or does not work with at this point in time, but regardless of what it doesn't work with, using it for champions and nightmares throughout the boss fight saves you time and it helps to coordinate the team. It's hard to miss a big blue ball walking around, and the extra damage means a one-shot with Izanagi's for just about every enemy, including nightmares and champions. So until something else comes along, I still recommend using it. And yeah, that's it, Guardians. 10 minutes is plenty of time for this fight. However, Skolas is down to 8 minutes, and Fnatic is going to be 11. I'll have guides up for both of them right alongside this one. Once again, thank you for watching and for supporting Sly Nation. There are hundreds of channels out there that you could be watching, guys, and I thank you for taking the time for checking out my content. It absolutely means the world. If you're new to my channel, welcome, Guardian. Glad you stumbled upon my little slice of gaming heaven here. Subscribe for lots more Destiny 2 videos, guides, walkthroughs, and reviews, along with other videos covering various Let's Plays, Mass Effect stuff, Anthem, Star Wars, and much, much more. Spank the thumbs up, but only if you enjoyed yourself, and feel free to check me out on Twitter or Facebook at Sly Nation Gaming on the FB. Take care, ladies and gentlemen, and keep those eyes open for more Shadowkeep videos and guides coming out here soon. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll catch you all next time.